Emma had imagined her graduation day 1,000 times. She imagined walking across the stage, hearing her name called, and seeing her family smile with pride. After years of hard work, late nights, and countless struggles, this was supposed to be the happiest day of her life. But she never expected her own father to destroy it. Emma stood among hundreds of students wearing their graduation gowns. Her hands were shaking, not from fear, but from excitement. She had finally done it. She had earned her degree without her father's help. She worked part-time, paid her own bills, and refused to give up. Her grandfather was the only person who always believed in her. One day, they will see your true worth, he had told her many times. But her father, Richard, never saw her that way. For years, he called her careless. He said she would never become successful. He always compared her to her younger brother and made Emma feel like she was never enough. Still, Emma hoped graduation day would change everything. When she walked off the stage, her smile disappeared after seeing her father's serious face. Richard stood up in front of the guests. "I have something to say," he announced. The crowd became quiet. Emma looked at him, confused. Then Richard pointed at her. "My daughter is not the person everyone thinks she is. She stole something valuable from our family." The happiness around Emma vanished. People started whispering. Her classmates looked shocked. Her teacher stared in disbelief. Richard opened an old jewelry box and held it up. Years ago, a family heirloom disappeared. She was the only one who had access to it. Emma felt like the entire world stopped. She wanted to speak, but the words would not come. She had spent years trying to make her father proud, and now he was calling her a thief in front of everyone. Then her grandfather slowly walked toward her. Without saying a word, he placed an old pocket watch in her hand. "Look at the engraving when the sun goes down," he whispered. Emma looked at the old watch, not understanding. She did not know that tiny hidden words on that watch would soon reveal the biggest lie her family had ever believed. Emma could not sleep that night. The image of her father's face kept returning to her mind. The way he stood in front of everyone. The way he said she was a thief without any proof. For years, Emma had accepted her father's harsh words. She thought maybe one day he would understand her. But after graduation, something inside her changed. She no longer wanted to prove she was good enough. She wanted the truth. On her bedroom table sat the old pocket watch her grandfather gave her. It looked ordinary. The metal was scratched, and the glass had a small crack. Anyone else would have thought it was just an old family item. But Grandpa's words kept repeating in her head. "Look at the engraving when the sun goes down." As the evening light entered her room, Emma held the watch near the window. At first, she saw nothing. Then something strange happened. Tiny marks on the back of the watch began to shine. Emma moved closer. Hidden beneath years of dust and scratches were words carved into the metal. Her heart started beating faster. The engraving said, "The truth belongs to the one who protects it, not the one who hides it." Below those words was a date from 15 years ago. Emma froze. That was the exact year the family heirloom disappeared. The same year her father first accused her of stealing. She quickly called her grandfather. After a long silence, he finally answered. "Emma, you found it." Her voice trembled. "Grandpa, what does this mean?" "Dad knew about this watch." Her grandfather took a deep breath. "Your father knows more than he has ever admitted." Emma felt a cold feeling in her chest. "Why didn't you tell me before?" "Because I needed the right moment," Grandpa replied. Then he told her something that changed everything. "The watch is not the only thing hidden from you." Emma looked around her room. What else is there? Her grandfather gave her one simple answer. Something buried in the backyard. Emma's hands went cold. She knew she was about to uncover a secret her father had spent years hiding. Emma stood in her grandfather's backyard the next morning, holding the old pocket watch tightly in her hand. The place looked peaceful. The same garden where she played as a child. The same trees where her grandfather taught her how to plant flowers. But now, it felt like the ground was hiding a painful secret. Her grandfather arrived slowly with an old wooden shovel. "Are you sure you want to know the truth?" he asked. Emma looked at him. "After what Dad did to me, I need to know." Grandpa nodded. Together, they walked to the corner of the backyard, near an old tree. He pointed to the ground. "Your father buried something here many years ago." Emma's heart started racing. They carefully dug through the soil until the shovel hit something hard. A small wooden box appeared. It was covered with dirt and looked like it had been hidden for a very long time. Emma opened it with shaking hands. Inside were old papers, photographs, and several envelopes. At first, she did not understand what she was looking at. Then she found a picture. It showed her father, Richard, holding the same family heirloom he accused Emma of stealing. But the date on the picture was shocking. It was taken 2 years before the item supposedly disappeared. Emma stared at the photo in disbelief. How is this possible? Her grandfather looked down. "Because your father knew the truth from the beginning." Emma picked up another document. It was a receipt from a private buyer. The item was sold, and the name written on the receipt was Richard's. Her hands began to shake. Her father had not lost the heirloom. He had sold it. Then he blamed her to protect himself. But there was one more envelope inside the box. It had her name written on the front. Emma slowly opened it. The first line made her stop breathing. "Emma, if you are reading this, it means the truth can no longer be hidden." She looked at her grandfather. She knew the next words would reveal why her father destroyed her reputation. Emma held the old letter in her hands, but she was afraid to read the words inside. For years, she had wondered why her father treated her differently, why he trusted her brother more, why he always believed the worst about her. Now, she was finally going to find out. She opened the envelope carefully. The handwriting belonged to her grandfather. "Emma, if you are reading this, the truth has finally found its way to you." Her eyes moved slowly across the page. Grandpa explained everything. 15 years earlier, Richard was facing serious money problems. He had debts that he kept hidden from the family. The family heirloom was valuable, and Richard secretly sold it to pay what he owed. But when people started asking questions, he became afraid. He did not want anyone to know what he had done. So he created another story. A story where Emma was the person responsible. Because she was young, quiet, and always blamed herself, Richard thought nobody would question him. Emma felt tears forming in her eyes. She remembered being called dishonest as a teenager. She remembered family members looking at her differently. She remembered trying to explain that she had done nothing wrong. But nobody believed her. Her grandfather continued writing. "I want to tell everyone the truth, but your father begged me not to destroy the family. I waited because I knew one day the truth would need to come from you." Emma lowered the letter. She was angry. She was hurt. But more than anything, she felt free. The shame she carried for years was never hers. It belonged to the person who created the lie. Then Grandpa handed her one final document. "This is why your father will never admit the truth," he said. Emma looked at the paper. It was a legal document with Richard's signature, and it proved that he had known the truth all along. The family gathering was only 3 days away. Emma knew she had a choice. She could stay silent like before, or she could finally let everyone hear the truth. The day of the family gathering arrived. Emma stood outside her father's house, holding the old pocket watch and the documents from the hidden box. For years, she had entered this house feeling small. She had walked through those doors carrying guilt that was never hers. But today was different. Today, she was carrying the truth. Inside the backyard, the whole family was gathered. Richard was laughing with relatives, acting like nothing had happened. When he saw Emma, he smiled. "Look who finally came," he said. "I hope you're not planning to take anything else today." A few people laughed quietly. Years ago, those words would have broken her. But this time, Emma stayed calm. "I came here to return something," she said. Richard raised an eyebrow. "Return what?" Emma placed the old pocket watch on the table. The room became silent. Her grandfather stepped forward. "Before anyone judges Emma again, they need to know what really happened." Richard's face changed. "Father, don't do this." But Grandpa continued. He showed everyone the old photograph. Then he placed the selling receipt beside it. The family members looked confused as they read the details. The heirloom was sold years before Emma was ever accused. Then Emma placed the final document on the table. Richard's own signature was visible. The truth was impossible to deny. Nobody spoke. The same people who once believed Richard now looked at him with disappointment. Emma looked at her father. Do you know what hurt the most? Not the accusation, not the shame. It was knowing my own father chose a lie over his daughter. Richard tried to defend himself. I was trying to protect the family. Grandpa shook his head. No, you were protecting yourself. The backyard that once held years of lies was now filled with the truth. But Emma noticed one more envelope inside the old box. It had been hidden beneath all the other documents. And on the front, there was one final message. This will decide what happens next. The backyard was completely silent. Everyone looked at the final envelope sitting on the table. For years, Richard had controlled the story. He had made people believe Emma was dishonest, careless, and untrustworthy. But now, every lie he created was falling apart. Emma slowly picked up the envelope. Her name was written on the front, but the handwriting was not her grandfather's. It was her grandmother's. She opened it carefully. Inside was a letter written many years ago. Emma, if you are reading this, you finally know the truth. I want you to remember one thing. A person's value is not decided by the lies others tell about them. Emma felt tears in her eyes. Her grandmother had always believed in her, even when nobody else did. But there was something else inside the envelope, a small legal paper. It showed that her grandfather had protected the family property and placed Emma as the rightful owner of something important. He knew one day the truth would be needed. Richard looked at the document and became silent. For the first time, he had nothing to say. The people who once questioned Emma now understood what she had suffered. Her uncle apologized. Her cousins looked ashamed. But Emma did not celebrate her father's downfall. She simply looked at him and said, I spent years trying to prove I wasn't a thief. I should have never needed to prove my innocence to my own family. Richard lowered his eyes. He finally understood that his biggest loss was not money or reputation. It was losing the trust of his own daughter. Emma left that house with peace in her heart. The hidden engraving on the old pocket watch did exactly what her grandfather hoped it would do. It protected the truth until the right moment. And from that day forward, Emma never carried the weight of someone else's lie again. Because the truth may stay hidden for years, but when it finally appears, it can change everything.